For all of you to be here and take some time out of your day to join us and talk about the importance of small business, and hopefully our guest presenter can impart some really important knowledge to you guys, and you guys can all leave here feeling like it was worth your time. Start with an introduction of myself. My name is Joe Murphy. I work for Kyren Construction Services full-time, and happy to say that I've been with the City of Marion for almost a year now as the Director of Economic Development and the Executive Director of the Redevelopment Commission under contract. And Mayor Morell and I have been focused on bringing good quality projects to the city, as well as continuing to improve the quality of place, quality of life here in the City of Marion. And small business entrepreneurship goes a long way towards that effort. So we're very, very focused on this community, this network of small business folks that we're hoping to develop here with this event. And I want to share with you guys off the top that hopefully this is just the start of what we're going to be able to do for small businesses. We've got some programs that we've already launched. We're hoping to launch some additional ones, and we really want to understand what the struggles of small business in Marion are, and really try to work with you all to identify how we can help and participate as the public sector entity here in the community. So that's kind of my intro here. I want to rattle off a couple thank yous, and then we will transition very quickly to Kyren and let him speak on what he wants to talk about today. So first off, Mayor Morell's in the room. I want to thank Mayor Morell not only for allowing me to be here in this role, but also many of you may know he started a series similar to this back before he ever ran for mayor, became mayor, and I think it's always, I don't want to speak for him, but I think it's always been a passion of his to support small business and local business here in Marion. I mean, you guys know he's a Marion guy through and through. That's why he ran for office, and this is a small part of his vision that we're happy to carry out for him. I want to also thank the Redevelopment Commission as well as the city staff. A lot of man hours, a lot of effort, a lot of thought and planning went into this event, and then what is going to become this series going out through at least the rest of the calendar year. Kyren, Trent are in the room, both commissioners, both present and former commissioners, as well as, in our office, Layla, Dina, Esther, all these people that were able to make this possible. And then also Ashley's for providing the great refreshments we have outside. And please do not leave without taking something, right? Those are for you guys to enjoy. Those are, a little contribution on behalf of the city and the Redevelopment Commission to make sure that you enjoy your time here while we're talking a little bit about business. So real quickly, just why do we want to do this series? I think it's important to understand that small business is a very challenging thing, and I think you guys in the room probably recognize that, and I don't want to paint the negative side, but it is very challenging to continue to succeed in small business, and our hope with the city is that we can just lend a small helping hand and make sure that these small businesses that already exist or are about to come to fruition here in the city have an opportunity to succeed and have every chance possible to thrive. And we hope to do so through two primary things. Number one, community. We hope that this monthly series is an opportunity for you to network with your fellow business folks, understand how you can help each other out, understand how there might be opportunities for collaboration between businesses that are in the room, and then also for mentorship, right? If there's someone in the room who's been in business for hundreds of years and there's someone who's just getting started out, I'm sure there's a lot that they can share that we can't cover here in 90 minutes. So highly encourage you to meet your fellow business folks who are here in the room and take advantage of this community that we're going to hope to create. And then the second thing is education. We're hopeful that each month we can bring you a unique guest speaker who's going to be able to provide perspective, going to be able to provide some kind of insight for you that you can take home with you, both physical informations, presentations, insights, past experiences that you can kind of take back with you, and hopefully will improve your day-to-day business operations, or maybe even your big picture thoughts about how you want to take your business going forward. So that's the reason for the series. And again, this is going to become a monthly series. Our hope is that we're going to operate on the fourth Wednesday of every month. It'll be 4 o'clock to 5:30. That's how it's set up today. And we've got speakers booked through at least the next 6 months. So we're very, very excited. We're going to continue to release a month at a we've already released kind of a full list. We're going to continue to release more information about a month in advance. And I'm happy to say we have our next month's speaker already in the room with us. So already an early precursor here, but start to mark your calendars for next month. May 28th, 4 p.m. we'll be hosting our second event. Guest speaker, Steve Javorowski, thank you. I went ahead and just pointed you. Steve's the program chair at Ivy Tech Community College's Garantoni School of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and he leads the curriculum development and teaches aspiring entrepreneurs across the state of Indiana. So that If you went on Eventbrite to book your ticket for this event, the next event is already on there. Get back on Eventbrite and make sure you register for that next event. We'll also be sending out marketing materials through the city pages in the following days to be sure that you get a hold of that. And I've got if you sign up through Eventbrite, I also have your email. I'll be emailing you all the materials you have in front of you here today, as well as a link to that next event so that you can make sure that you continue to come. The last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Kyren is we want your feedback. We want you guys to all get involved. So I think that can look a couple different ways. Number one, if you feel like there was something that you would have liked to have seen at this event that you didn't see at the first event, if you have a comment about the timing of the event, are we meeting enough? Are we not meeting enough? Is this time of day good? Is this time of the week good? I want all that feedback possible. We need that constructive criticism to make sure that this event continues to grow and that 2-3 months from now this audience doubles or triples. My contact information is out on the small glass table out as you make your way out. Please pick up one of my business cards. Please reach out to me. Phone number, email is on there. Let me know how we can do better next time. The second thing I'll mention is that we are also looking for sponsors for this event. That can take, again, several different forms. We're here in the City Hall today, conference room number 2. We'd like to make this a rotating thing. Another opportunity would be for local businesses to host the event. Give them an opportunity to display what they're doing in their business, allow us to kind of move around the city a little bit and get that opportunity. We're also looking for folks that are going to help us monetarily support this event so that we can continue to provide the great snacks, the great refreshments, and be able to continue to build out the content of this event so we can continue to book good speakers and make this even bigger and better in the future. So please get involved if you can. All right, I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to introduce Kyren real quick, and then he's going to come up here and do his thing. Now, Kyren is an award-winning audio mastering engineer with Marion-based Frequency Canvas LLC. He's also the CEO of Marion-based Media by Canvas LLC. Kyren has experience from working with major record labels in the music industry, successful independent record labels, and various recording artists. Kyren's also a lifelong Marion resident who has given back a lot to his community. His companies are assisting the city in putting on this event, and they've also assisted the city in launching a number of podcasts to increase awareness about our operations and the great people working in the city. He's also a member of our Redevelopment Commission and an active in supporting countless projects we have going on throughout the city to improve Marion's future. So without any further introduction, Kyren Monteiro.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Can y'all hear me good, or do I need the microphone? I feel like my mouth is big enough to not need the microphone. Appreciate y'all coming out. We got some heavy hitters in the room. Appreciate Mayor Morrell doing this event. We did this years ago. He put this on. We was meeting at the old Economic Growth Council, and it was pretty good, pretty cool. Guys like Trent and some others came out and spoke, and it was kind of a bond formed in that group. So we wanted to see things done similar. So we have this handout if you guys want to follow along. There's a lot of information I'm not going to cover in here, but probably a lot of things you guys already know, but I just put it in here just in case. But we're going to put a huge emphasis today on building a brand, what that means, and jumping into it. So on this, I'm going to get started on the second page. There are some facts I looked up online with AI, right? And it says that over 20% of startup companies fail within the first year of doing business. Over 50% of companies close their doors by year 5, and only 30% of companies are still operating by year 10. So if you are trying to build a business, I think that is a brave thing because it's something a lot of people don't do. Mr. Garland, you said Atlas has been around for 100 plus years?
132.
Trent, IMG has been around how long?
1954, so almost 75.
What's your business, how long has it been around?
TLC Management, 35 years.
35 years. Anybody else been around for some decades?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah. Keenan, how long you been in State Farm?
7 years.
7 years. So it's a lot of people in here that are a part of that 30%, in the country. So round of applause for that. So in my experience, when I look at great people, I think that there's 4 things I've seen in great entrepreneurs, some in this room, some afar. The first one is their discipline and commitment to persevere through the journey of entrepreneurship. Second one is they love adding value to people. Third is they love ideas and things that add value to people. and they love creating and establishing vision, right? I don't think any person that I've seen be successful in business does not embody those 4 things. I'm sure there's a ton of other things people can say, but I would say those 4 things are important. On the next page, I think one thing that I see people struggle with in business from a startup level, because that's where I come from, is a startup level, is that people have a hard time understanding separation between having a company and themselves, right? And if you're going to build a brand for a company, I think it's good to understand that a company is something that's separate from you, right? So I would say, coming from a startup world, even the simple things like people understanding to have separate bank accounts for the business, not commingling funds, having websites, having different things where this is an entity on its own. I've seen a lot of people struggle with just treating it like it's one and the same. And I think that's important to highlight, because if you want to build a brand, you have to see it as its own thing. Hopefully that can run without you one day, right? So a company is, the legal definition of a company is a more specific term that usually refers to a legally recognized and registered entity formed to conduct business. It complies a certain level of formality and structure. And I'm not going to go through the rest, but I think that that's important to know, that a company is its own thing, and it's very important to separate that. And now if you go down to this, a few pages over, and you see a section that starts, it says the importance of branding. That's where we really want to spend some time at. Ask a few people some questions. Man, Morrell, what's a brand to you, man?
Oh, man. Brand, I would say.
Not a textbook definition, your definition, if you got to define it.
A brand, I think a brand would be something that follows you everywhere, every room that you're not even in. So a brand is something that can follow you no matter where you are.
Keenan, what's a brand to you?
Your identity, how you want to be identified, and build your reputation.
Wifey, what's up?
Oh, hi.
What's a brand to you?
Oh, I'm participating. I would say, how you want to be widely recognized.
Okay. Mr. Gartland, over 100 and something years of experience, what would you say a brand of a company is?
For us, it's the product we make for iron.
Okay. Trent?
Brand is kind of, how would I classify this? It's your identity of who you are and what you represent and what you do to the public.
Angela?
I feel that it's when someone sees you or hears of you, the first thing that comes to mind, who they are as a person, what their business is.
Megan, what about you with Mackie? What is a brand to you?
I agree with a lot of what people have said here. It's what comes to mind. It's what people say behind your back.
Right? So I would say, in my definition, a brand is a sum total of everything about you and that you represent, right? So I think we all kind of saying the same thing. So right here, it says, what exactly is a brand, right? And when we think about brands like Apple, Nike, Coca-Cola, all of those are branding. McDonald's, they got the I'm loving it, right? You know, with the arch, these are all part of brands, and they've all been able to do amazing things throughout time, right? Because they've paid attention to the background work of what it is, right? So a brand is more than just a logo. A brand in its entire perception, a brand is the entire perception that your customers and potential customers have of your company, its products, its service. It's the feeling, it's the gut feeling people get when they interact with your business or even hear its name. It's your promise. It's what you consistently deliver or strive to deliver to your customers. Think of it as a person's reputation, just like a person has a reputation based on their own actions and words. Your company has a brand based on its actions, communication, and visual reputation. What do y'all think about that? Do y'all agree with that? Yeah. Right? So I think coming up, when I first was getting started as a teenager, the reason that I'm here is I used to go by this rap name, The Messenger. Used to be was a Christian hip hop artist, toured around. Was now Engaged Records. It was called Holy Soldier Records. It wasn't a legal company. I started at 15. I was signing contracts that my mom and dad did not know. Wasn't old enough to conduct business legally in the state of Indiana, but we started this, and there were some Christian rappers, guys like Lecrae. There used to be this group called Cross Movement and others back in the day. And I didn't know any of the technical terms or anything, but I just seen the way that they promoted their music and the way that they promoted their brands. And that's kind of what got me curious into what branding was. So when I was coming up, I thought a brand was just a logo, right? I thought it was just a logo. I thought it's something that just looked good on the back of CDs. I thought it was something that just looked good on posters. That's all I thought about when it was a brand. But then as I started being around people like Trent, people like Keenan, people like Ronnie and others, I start realizing like it's so much deeper, right, than just a logo. And so years ago, you can pull it up. Years ago, I think my first official kind of example of when we really started getting into branding, this was the year 2012. And this is like my third independent album at the time. And I was only 22, and I seen the way that there were some other artists marketing their albums. And because we were just putting out music and doing shows, but other people had merchandise, they had visuals, just the way that they were able to brand the music. It was crazy. People was people was getting logos tattooed onto them, and we learned a lot. So what we did is we had this album called Lifeline, and I thought it would be a great example back then to come up with an album logo. And I don't know if you guys want to pass it around. I don't know if that's necessary. But the concept that we came up with the concept of this album was hope for the broken, essentially, right? It was kind of like the message of Jesus giving hope spiritually. So you have a cross in the middle with two L's saying Lifeline. The red is representation of bloodstain, right? The blood that he shed. And so that was kind of like the concept. So everything that we developed around that time, we had these cool little wristbands. These used to be in back in the day. Nike had some. We had these posters, right? It was on the CDs, on the back of it. It was a whole brand. And it was the first time that I realized, outside of just having a logo or just product, what a brand was. And so that's kind of the first time I started experiencing what a real brand can do and connecting people and how powerful it is. And so when you think about companies, I think about companies like Apple. I think about companies, what that represents when you see that Apple. What do you guys think about when you see the Apple logo? What comes to mind?
Forbidden fruit.
Forbidden fruit. Yeah, people always say that.
Dependability, quality, longevity of the company, all the different options. Like,
I think of expensive, but also trustworthy.
Okay. When I think about, like you said, reliable and all of that, I just think of them as just a company that's dedicated themselves to excellence, right? And throughout electronics and different things, they figured out a way to be able to communicate that. And that Apple was everywhere. I don't know how many trillions of dollars they're worth, but I think that they embody that and the reputation that they have. Key elements of a brand, the visual and verbal elements that make your brand recognizable, right? So colors, logo, typography, voice, messaging. That's real important, right? So the messaging of your brand, who are you trying to target? We've talked about that. Me and Trent have talked about that a lot. Messaging. Who is your specific target customer? Me and Keenan have talked about that a lot. Your voice, the messaging of things, your brand image, how customers actually perceive the brand, which can be influenced by the identity of the company, values of the company, the core principles that guide your business decisions and how you operate, the personality of your company, characteristics that you want your brand to embody? Is it friendly? Is it sophisticated? Is it innovative? I think that all of these contribute to a great brand. I think it's a huge reason for the why of what you do, right? I think it's important when you're running a business and building a company up to think about the why. Because I think adding value is one of the most important things when it comes to business. I think if you're just in it to chase money, I don't think that that's going to get you very far, especially starting from the ground up, because you're going to be pretty broke, right? Just the truth of the matter. And so when we go down here to part 2 on why is your brand so important, standing out in a crowd, right? So in today's world, customers have endless choices, and a strong brand helps you differentiate yourself from the competition. And it, as listed, it says, why should I choose you, right? So when you think about companies, what makes you guys choose some of your favorite companies? Why do you go with them?
Easy access.
Easy access, okay.
Like if their website is user friendly, I can get what I need to get done fairly quickly.
What's up, DJ? How you doing, man?
Can you ask the question again? I missed it.
What makes you choose, when you think of a company's brand and identity, what makes you choose them? Why do you choose a company? Like, what makes you go with that?
Accessibility, professionalism. Like I personally, I'm looking to see, are the graphics clean cut? Do they look professional? My husband knows I'm looking at the grammar. I'm paying attention to the language, and I am doing a grammar check in all of their written material. But yeah, so just what I call professional writing and presentation.
Reputation.
From a larger standpoint, like where I would go buy, like a Target versus a Walmart versus that kind of, or Meijer, I'm looking at their store values. How are they treating their employees? What things are they supporting? What are they not? That is more, those things are important to me now that I wouldn't have thought of in the past, but they're important now.
What about some of the other things like the messaging and the color of it, right? So Keenan, you got a State Farm office. Why did they choose red? State Farm, they got red is everywhere, right? That's a part of the brand colors. Do you know why that was a part of their choice?
I really don't.
I know the color red is authoritative, right? That's what it represents. Trent, you guys, with IMG, you guys got a lot of blue. What was the color theory behind that? Why did you get?
I like the color blue.
Mary Morrell, the double M's, the red and black. What was the concept?
Yeah, so I guess when I thought about that, I was really motivated. My favorite car that I haven't figured out how to afford is a Maybach. So that's why I chose the double M for my logo. But another thing, so I'm obviously in a situation right now where I choose a lot of different companies for different levels of contracts, and usually in different levels of presentation. So usually when I'm ciphering, pulling through all those kind of things, I mean, obviously people are turning in sometimes for one deal, 10, 20 different bids, right? So I have to go through those and give everybody a fair shake. And usually I'm looking at what kind of price they're giving, mainly to try to make the best decision financially, but also the track record is usually what I'm going for most. Do they have good references? Do they have previous successes that I can put my reputation on by hiring them?
Okay. So really as a mayor, the most important thing to you is the reputation and the consistency, essentially. Which would include customer service, values, all that other stuff. I would agree with that. What about you, DJ? DJ is a DJ, by the way, literally, on the ones and twos. When you buy certain brands of turntables or whatever, why?
Yeah, for me, I think because I am serving people, brand matters. So the Apple MacBook laptop is not the best for DJing, but for the person, if they see a MacBook, they may think that's a good laptop. I
will argue that with you, but I'm gonna let you go ahead.
And Pioneer DJ controller is a staple within the DJ world, so it communicates to the people that I'm playing music for.
Okay. So I think the next point is true for what everybody said. I think building trust and credibility, a consistent and professional brand signals that you are serious about your business and that customers can rely on you. Trust leads to repeat business and customer loyalty. So I know in the audio world, which is where I really have spent a lot of time, what comes down to you getting your gigs is how people trust you. So typically your last job makes your next job at the end of the day, right? So meeting deadlines, which, sometimes I'm not perfect at, but trying to meet deadlines, looking at the market, the rates, being competitive, what are my competitors charging, business structure, all of that stuff represents that, right? Let's move down to attracting your ideal customer. A well-defined brand resonates with a specific audience you want to reach. It helps connect with your customer who share values and offer what you, and appreciate what you offer, right? So with your brand, how that communicates everything, where are they hanging out at, right? So if you're a DJ, where are you getting your leads at? Is most of your crowd on Facebook? They on IG? What time are they there, right? All of that kind of stuff matters at the end of the day. What class of people are you reaching? Are they wealthy? Are they more high tier, right? So all of that stuff matters. Charging premium prices. Strong brands often have the ability to command higher prices because customer perceives a greater value. Now I know coming from the music world, I fell into the trap of charging the cheapest prices, getting started out. And that came with a whole slew of consequences because I stayed stuck in a bracket of cheap people. And it was hard to bump out of that because of all the problems. So if I was somebody, I would say, if I was telling somebody starting a new business right now, I would say that try to identify your target customer and think about more of a luxury service that you can provide. You know what I mean? Don't stay stuck at the bottom, right? When I think about, I love watches. So when I think of Rolex, everybody can't afford a Rolex. I can't, not right now. What's up, Keenan?
I think too, along with your premium prices, you gotta build value. So most of your customers won't identify the value within your product. So as you're pricing it, you have to build the value according to the price, the perceived value. So I think that's important too. If you're gonna price it, you have to build your value up. Even if you, per se, wouldn't say your value, that's true value, but it's what you can provide with that product. So, so you have to make sure that you're building value. And a lot of times too, I know like with my wife and her art, she's going, my art, I took an hour to paint this piece. So it didn't take me a lot of time, so I should price it low. But she's not pricing it according to the time. It's the value and the skill level that she's put into the art. So she had a hard time pricing it based on the perceived value, the value of the product and her skill and that sort of thing. So you gotta make sure that you're building value with your product if you're gonna price it like that.
So I would say that goes into the next point of making sure that you connect with your customers on an emotional level, right? So when your customers connect with your brand on an emotional level, they are more likely to become loyal fans and recommend you to others, right? So I think that goes back to the point of more than just offering a service, like they say in the crowded market space, how can your brand connect to somebody personally? That can go back to the messaging, it can go back to the color palette, the values and everything. Internal cohesion. A clear brand provides a guide and light for your employees, helping them understand the company's missions and values and how they should represent it, right? So I have a small business. I don't have a ton of company, but I know people who have employees, and I know that is important. Trent, at IMG, how important is that for like building culture? I know you got a lot of employees. So how does that work in a world of a lot of employees?
Culture's everything. It's, if you take care of your people, they'll take care of your clients. It's probably the most important thing you can do. If you have a strong culture, you're gonna attract good talent, you're gonna keep good talent, and retention's a really, really hard thing for a lot of companies. But it's important that they have a clear understanding of your mission and your values, and why we're here and why we're different, which is important. I mean, we're both in the insurance business, me and Keenan, there's what, probably 30 insurance agencies in Grant County.
Right, yeah.
Why are we different, right? So there are actual reasons, but there's a lot of it boils down to the people, and we're all offering the same product. So culture and advertising is a big way to differentiate.
Mayor Morrell, how does it work on the city level? You got hundreds of employees here.
So the city has 246 employees, and managing culture, it's really a challenge, because you have, in this industry, you have a lot of different type of employees, right? You have union members that have to deal with, which is a whole nother conversation. Union members I have to deal with. I have just regular employees. I have skilled labor employees. I have office employees. So it's a wide range of things. So you want some advice that somebody told me that I found true. You got to treat everybody different. Normally, you want to treat everybody the same way. Treat everybody different, and every circumstance is different, every situation is different, every employee is different. So trying to manage and control culture is a daily challenge that I try to spend my time on.
Okay. Keenan, what about you? You look like you got something to add. Did you want to add something?
Because he said union.
Okay.
Union environment.
I'm afraid nobody, does anybody else have to deal with it? I'm afraid you don't have to.
Okay, let's move on. Part 3, building your brand from the ground up, right? So your mission, super important to add in that. What's your company's purpose? Why do you exist? Your vision. What's the long-term goals of the company? The values, guiding principles that'll drive your business decision-making. And actions, your target audience. Who are your ideal customers? What are their needs, wants, and pain points? I'll be honest, this is something that I've struggled with coming out of the music industry, is who is the ideal customers? You know, for years I spent marketing and advertising to the wrong people and becoming frustrated that my messaging wasn't coming across clear because I wasn't hitting the right people. The people I was targeting they couldn't afford the rates, no disrespect to where I wanted to be at. They was not the ideal customer who I was doing, and I spent a lot of time in agony, you know what I mean, not seeing results from seeing that. So I would urge anybody to dive in on who that ideal customer is, your unique selling proposition. Keenan says this a lot. I hear this, yeah, right? So what makes you different from other competitors, right? There's a lot of people, I'm sure there's a million insurance agencies. There's a whole lot of counselors, there's a lot of restaurants. I mean, I don't know how it is to run a college, but I'm sure you want to compete against Indiana Wesleyan, right?
Well, I don't want to run a college either, but no, I think you're spot on. You know, being nicer. I ask a lot of my students, what makes your business different? Oh, we treat everybody with respect. Well, every business wants to treat everybody with respect. So the key is unique. What's unique and different. And you gotta find out what that is for your business. It's different for every business, right? And
it goes back to more than just being a logo, right? Just because you got a unique logo design don't mean you got a unique business. So I think spending a lot of time in the background with your team and figuring out that kind of stuff, I think is important. And yeah, I think that's real important. Yes, sir.
I think there's two things to that. You have to have both a market dominating position, and then two, you have to have a compelling offer.
True.
So it's like what separates you, but then if you get separated, do you have something that you offer your target audience that they can't refuse? It's like it would be like a dumb thing for me to refuse this offer that you're giving me. So you gotta have both. It's like you can have, well, you perceive me to be different this way. Then when the person shows up, you have nothing to offer them. Or you can't get the offer out because you haven't done enough branding to set yourself apart from the marketplace. So you have to have both. It separates you in the marketplace, then you have a compelling offer once the customer shows up.
I agree. Anybody want to add anything else to that?
Well, I think that can also be done with consistent messaging too. So I'm gonna take a swing at this, right? Because there's a bunch of therapists in town, right? But I'm in a fantastic position in that I was able to set up my brand as a therapist within a company, right? So Jada Dr. Kyren Monteiro as a therapist, not only was I able to deliver a message that says I am working with generational trauma, I know how to break the cycle, and not only do I know how to do that as a therapist, I did the research at a doctoral level, right? So there's my pitch. I have the educational basis, and I also am able to meet you that way. So then when you come sit in front of me, you're able to experience that.
I agree.
I work it out.
Agree.
Along the way. But with that being said, still, I branded myself as a therapist with what I bring to the table as a part of a company as well.
True. True. So we're involved in, I got a company called Media by Canvas, new company that we're trying to help local companies in marketing and branding, new to the space, but it's been exciting. We do a podcast with the city. We do Mayor Morrell's, some behind the work. Trent has a podcast out called The Daily Edge with his brothers. Got some stuff coming up with Keenan. This is Daryl. Raise your hand. Daryl is our marketing guy, Ball State graduate, works at Carrier Services as well. And one of the challenges that I think I've seen in creating a brand is, like Keenan is saying, making that offer, making yourself different from everybody else. I'll take a logo example, Mayor Morrell. So with his brand, he used social media a whole lot to be able to separate himself, put a ton of money in. If you don't mind me putting you on blast, how much money did you spend on marketing for your campaign and advertising and branding?
Like $200,000.
Sheesh. What made you confident that you can be a candidate to offer the city something? Why not somebody else? Why you?
I think that a couple of things. So to answer the question first, I would say I brought a level of energy and a level of fresh ideas to the city that we hadn't had in a long time. And then from a marketing standpoint, I could have believed that all I wanted to, but if nobody else believed it, then it doesn't work. So that's why the constant marketing from social media to mail to, whatever point. So like somebody told me now that you have to hit people like 7 times before they remember what you're saying.
Yep.
So that means you're hitting people on social media, you're hitting people on text messages, you're hitting people on emails, you're hitting them snail mail, you're hitting them in person, however many different ways you can think of to hit people before they actually grasp what you're trying to tell them.
Agreed. I agree. Moving down, crafting your brand's identity, visual and verbal, obviously logo, right? Visual cornerstone of your brand. It should be memorable, recognizable, and reflect your personality. A logo can be a long process. I know we got AI out right now that can just create anything for anybody. GoDaddy, Arrow, there's a ton of them. AI logo making and stuff like that. But I think working with graphic designers and people that specialize in stuff like that and the experience that you get to be able to think about that type of stuff, I think is important. I think with a good logo, I think is being simple, timeless, scalable, works in different sizes, relevant to your industry. Actionable tip, consider working with a professional designer, especially in the early stages. Get good feedback. Color palette. I have not been one to use a lot of colors in my personal business, but I know it is important. Like I said, State Farm is blue. The City of Marion is kind of like, what would it be? Is it greenish, kind of blue? State Farm is red. I'm sorry. Sorry, that's a mistake. City of Marion is kind of bluish, greenish. Seen IMG. I thought that was deep, Trent. You said just because you like blue, that's it? Okay, it works. You know what I'm saying? So your color palette is definitely important. Your fonts, the voice of your brand, the messaging, also coming from the ground up, which, there's a few people in here. I think things also like having professional emails, right? So I was back in the day, I remember using Yahoo, and somebody told me don't ever email me from Yahoo again, or I wouldn't trust you. I remember emailing a promoter trying to come to a show and open up, and they was like, the only reason I opened your stuff up is because I heard of you before. So, yeah. So as a broke high school kid, I begged somebody to pay for my emails and had professional emails there. I didn't know the importance of it until somebody told me that. A professional website. There are a lot of businesses that either don't have websites or they have terrible websites, right? So the importance of, I'm not going to go through all of this, but You know, SEO, search engine optimization, that's really important, right? So things like Google popping up, being able to be accessible, being able to be fast. You want your website to be clear and easy to navigate through. You want it to have a great homepage. Information about your products, obviously, company mission, values, and things like that. But I think also unique things that you can offer somebody. So Megan, you're a counselor, right? So what are some free things that you can give your customers or potential customers on your website some value at the end of the day, right? Before I walk through the door and even use you for a service, what could you give? You know what I mean? I think mobile friendly responses, fast loading times, all of these things are very important. I was on a website not that long ago and it still was using like old HTML coding from like the early 2000s. It took forever to load up, you know? And so I think things like that are very important. Social media, right? Something that a lot of people are not good at. Social media presence is very important. I think that goes back to learning your customer. Where do they hang out at, right? So me and Trim was talking not that long ago, talking about how Snapchat is for 20-year-olds, right? So if you have a business selling polos to 50 and up, Snapchat probably wouldn't be a good place to market those, right? So where are your people hanging out at, the times that you're posting, paying attention to the data and insights, letting you know. All of this stuff is real important, right? To being able to grow your social media presence. And considerations, like I said, you want to focus on platforms where your target audience lives, maintain a consistent brand voice and visual style. So I shouldn't go to your website and it's navy blue and then your social media is all yellow and red, right? Probably should be consistent. The same messaging on your website should be consistent right there. Business cards are very important. Tangible representation of your brand, consistent design of your logo, colors, fonts, include essential contact information. And I think just part of that visual thing, I just think consistency is key. Anytime they see you, anytime they hear you, anything that has to do with your brand, I think that it should be consistent. And so those are just kind of some key things that I think are very important to building a brand up. And I believe, Joe, we're supposed to open it up for Q&A, right?
Yeah.
Kind of talking.
Yeah, and I'll start. I got first question right here. So you've just thrown a lot at us, and it's all very, very important about how to market, how to brand yourself. If you were a new business just starting up and starting to contemplate your branding, your marketing, what is the one thing when you think about return on investment, it can be time and money, what is the one thing that a new business should focus on when developing that brand and why?
I think
that are going to launch them into that space and allow them to start to develop a customer base.
First off, I think if you can afford it, a business mentor.
Yeah.
I didn't have those early on, but probably most people can't afford business mentors coming up. But I would say a great logo, a great website. I think social media marketing, my opinion, for a new business. Of course, you got to put all that study into it. But I think depending on the type of business, that's where most people are on social media now. It's kind of hard not to be on social media. Yes, sir.
I mean, social media is free. I mean, if you've been really big, like, that'll cost you a dime on social media.
But the way Facebook is working now, though, they want you to pay to reach your followers.
To actually get on the platform, it doesn't cost you.
Yeah, for real.
So you can create however hard you work at. So, for example, my social media, I spend a lot of time and I post very frequently, right? I try to at least get out 2 or 3 posts a day. To where now, I'll show you guys at the end, I'm able to get, my page does about 1.7 million views a week. So I get so much information out, I crank it out, because people, that's what, like, so my grandmother's 80. She doesn't read the newspaper anymore. She doesn't listen to the radio. She's on Facebook scrolling, right? So you have to have, whether we like it or not, in this day and age, you have to have, or begin to develop a really solid social media platform. Because, like, so now it's transitioning from my personal brand to the city, people aren't traveling to Marion first and seeing Marion. They're Googling Marion and probably looking us up on TikTok before they even think about actually visiting here first, right? So the digital visit is happening before the physical visit.
I think, sure, to answer your question, if I heard you right, before you do anything as far as branding, you have to go to the place that you want people to see you as before you start anything. You have to have a vision. You have to put yourself in the image. Like, this is how I want people to perceive me and my business. This is it. So before I develop anything, before I develop purpose, mission, anything, I have to go, how do I want people to perceive my product, me, and my business? Now you can direct all of your efforts towards that vision. So with business and entrepreneurs, you have to start entrepreneurship with a vision. And then you take the vision and you break it down, is this feasible? You know, and then if it's feasible, now I do my demographic research and I do all that according to the feasible vision. If you don't have a vision and you're trying to do all this guesswork, you have nothing to shoot for. So it's like, create the vision first in your head and see if that vision is feasible. If that vision is feasible, then do all of your research and all of your advertising, branding, everything based on that vision.
Agreed. Any other questions?
I'm curious, what made you want to locate your business in Marion? Because you could go all over the place. Is it personal reasons, or is it something about Marion that made you want to locate here? I'm
laughing because my wife is 11. Yeah, she. All right, so I'll be very. If I'm being very transparent with you, trying to do music and media out of Marion is not the most ideal place on paper. But honestly, during COVID, I had a lot of time in the house, was going through a rough season, and I didn't believe that this place had more innovation. And honestly, Mayor Morrell, I'm gonna call him around, he can get mad at me. But he started the scooter company. And when he started that up, I had no idea that plastic scooters could innovate a whole city like that. So I started to see Marion a little different around that time, and it kind of gave me a different perspective. Prior to COVID, I was ready to go. But I think I've stayed because I see Marion more than just, I think if you want it to be a great community, then you have to be a great person trying to make it better. I think great communities are great because of great people, not just because it's developed great. But so I think everybody has a part to play. So, and just my little micro way, I've just been trying to play my part and help make it better. So that's why I'm here.
What are your biggest challenges as a business owner?
Everything. I say my biggest struggle I struggled with for years is ideal client. For me, personally, because it's everything on the internet, learning social media, who to target, how do you target, how is the messaging for that. I think that's been one of my biggest challenges. It's no problem to promote, post consistently, stuff like that, but I just feel like a lot of the efforts I was doing was just falling on deaf ears. So, starting to figure that stuff out better.
What are your thoughts on using AI for, going on and having them create posts for you and using that content? Are you for it, against it? What are your thoughts?
Gemini is my best friend. I talk to Gemini on car rides. I love it. I mean, adapt or die. If you don't use AI, I think you're gonna get swallowed up. All right? I think I heard somebody say AI won't replace you. It's somebody using AI that will. So in the audio world, there's people who can pay for $10 a master instead of paying me $250. Which one you think they want to do? It don't sound better, but it's more convenient. So I think that it's here to stay. So I'm all for it. Any other questions?
We have some new people. Why don't you let them introduce themselves and what business is?
Okay. Daryl. Introduce yourself.
How y'all doing again? I'm Daryl. In case y'all missed it the first time, I'm part of NBC, Frequency Canvas and Engage Records. I do the marketing behind it all, marketing and branding. I also do photos and videos on the side on my own personal record. I also partner with Carry Services. So if you ever see me at a Carry Service event, come say hi. I'm not a bad guy. What was the original? Was that the original question? Oh yeah. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, you did it all.
Jeff, introduce yourself.
No, you go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Reyes, in finance at Indiana Wesleyan University.
Nice.
Amber Parker Seafood Kitchen. Oh, yeah. Right down the street if you like.
Go get you some crab legs. Any other questions, Russ? You got any questions? No questions from the rap star yourself? No? Okay.
What hours is the restaurant open?
Crazy hours, but during the week, 11 to 2, we're open for lunch, and then we open back up for this, so that's why I'm dressed like this, from 5 to 8. And then on the weekends, we have longer hours. So Friday's 11 to 8, Saturday is 3 to 8, and Sunday's 1 to 6. So if you just Google Marion Seafood or Parker's, it'll pop right up for you. And all the hours are there.
Cool. Well, that's it. I appreciate y'all. I just want to say this, Marion is a dope place. We appreciate Mayor Morrell. What he's doing is a lot of good people. Marion is a good place to do business. I got business cards out there to connect. My guy, shameless plug for my guy, Keenan Davis. He just came out with a book called Controlling the Chaos for Entrepreneurs. He got them on sale for $200, so make sure that you get them. All right.
Take a picture of everybody?
Take a picture of every. Oh, that's marketing. Okay, let's do it.
Before you guys leave, I can everybody to form up for a picture. I'm so sorry. Oh, were you gonna say something?
We're gonna wrap up here and then we'll grab a picture real quick. All right.
Okay, great.
Cool.
I just want to hit a couple reminders while we got everybody in the room. First off, can we get another round of applause for Kyren? This is the first event